Everybody, it's the one here. How y'all doing? And I'm doing fine myself. I'll be doing part 9. So what if Deku was a swordsman? Last time we left off when Izuku, Class 1B, and 1A were all and basically doing the little thing that they did at the start of the whatchamacallit. What is it? At the start of that. I know that they're in the summer camp and they're doing that little game that they wanted to play. But currently the League of Villains are now on their way. And also apparently with another Hanzo assassin member. So let's get this started. So also little snippets that I wanted to add. Izuku still talks to Koda. That's a thing, and also he gets stronger than he already was, only by slightly, like physically stronger, because he's fighting Tiger a lot more often. That's actual real life physical strength, more than just real like in mind physical speed. So yeah, but besides that, then what the fuck I just said, the whatchamacallit got, then I say he had like a spear. Yeah, he had a spear. Anyway, so Izuku would just be walking around with, I would say, with Kendo by his side, when all of a sudden they would see blue flames burning out in the forest. They would be confused as they would realize that they're probably getting attacked. Or no, I'm pretty sure Mandalay would tell them all through like her little telepathic work that they're all getting attacked. While Kendo and Izuku are basically trying to run back to the little, I guess, campsite, they would end up getting ambushed. As a large amount of not black flames. Yeah, just normal flames. As a large amount of flames would overwhelm them. It will overwhelm their path in front of them. As a spear would come flying down towards them. Izuku wouldn't have his sword on him because he left that back at the campsite. So he would have just pushed Kendo out of the way, or he would have grabbed Kendo and moved them both out of the way. As a guy and as a person, as a very scrawny man, very tall and lanky. I would say around maximum of 7 foot. Yeah, around a complete maximum of 7 foot. Very lanky, pale skin with long black hair. And his eyes would be purplish, I guess. His eyes would be purplish, as he would sort of have almost like a cloak on, if you could say. The best way to put it, imagine a kimono, but more fantasy-like, you could say. That's the best way I can give it to you, Buzz. Just imagine a normal kimono with a Hayori on top. And then atop that Hayori, he has like little small pieces of armor, like shoulder pads, or like shoulder guards, like pretty sure like shin and knee guards. And then on top of that, I would say like maybe a chest plate on the inside of the Hayori. But anyway, he would be standing atop his spear that he had just thrown into the ground, as he would smile at Izuku and Kendo. With his voice, he would say, "Hello, Izuku, Midoriya, and Kendo. My name is Kageyama. I'm sent by Yuki to eliminate you. I hope you don't have a problem with that, Izuku Kamihara." As Izuku would stand up and look up at Kageyama. Damn, is that what I just called that nigga? Ain't no way I really just, bruh. Kageyama. Okay, that's his name, Kageyama. As Kageyama will look at Kendo and Izuku, as Kendo will sort of sit paused and in confusion, as Izuku will also sit there and sort of shock that this guy knows who Yuki is. Izuku would tell Kendo that they need to run and he has no way to fight. And no, he would tell Kendo that she needs to run now. Kendo would deny Izuku and tell her that she's gonna help out and fight with him. Izuku would just tell her to move out of the way, and she'll only get in the way of him. So now just run. As soon as this happened, Kageyama would jump off of his spear, grab it, and rush towards Izuku, as Izuku would rush towards Kageyama. As Kendo sort of sit there and pause on what to do, Kageyama would thrust the spear towards Izuku, as Izuku would simply just dodge out of the way of it. As Izuku would throw a punch towards Kageyama. Kageyama will let go with one hand of his spear, as he would block Izuku's punch. But what Kageyama didn't expect is Izuku to wrap his arm around his spear, and then after that yank this, or sort of twist the spear out of his hands. And now Izuku would have the spear as he would stab at Kageyama. Kageyama would jump back at Izuku as he would clap his hands together and throw with his hands forward, sort of like in a swiping motion. As a gust of flames will come forward, as Izuku would just spin the spear in a full circle overhead to swipe the flames away. As soon as this happened, Kageyama would land back on the ground and rush forward towards Izuku. Izuku would thrust the spear of Kageyama at Kageyama himself, as Kageyama would grab the spear and twist around in a full circle after grabbing it to rip it again out of Izuku's hands, as Kageyama would use the long stick, or the quote handle, I guess you could call it, the pole of the spear to hit Izuku in the side, to hit Izuku in the side, which Izuku would just simply block. But what Izuku didn't block, what Izuku didn't expect for Kageyama to move the spear, quickly move it to smack Izuku across the face, as he would let go of the spear and run forward, as almost like it was Assassin's Creed. A hidden blade from his wrist would appear out, as it would look almost like bone, as it would look bone like as it would come straight from his wrist. As before it could actually pierce Izuku, Kendo would rush forward with a fist as she would punch Kageyama across his face, sending him down the path that they just came from, or the path that they were going. Izuku would pause and say thank you to Kendo. As Izuku would pick up his spear, as he would chuck it at Kageyama, Kendo would look sort of scared, or as it looked like Izuku was ready to kill him, which Izuku was. But before Izuku could throw the spear fully, Kendo would leap forward as she would make her hand big, as she would chop the spear in half, breaking it before Izuku could actually kill Kageyama. Which Izuku saw this as he sort of stood there in shock on the fact that Kendo had just saved the enemy. The guy that was just trying to kill them, she is now just saved. Izuku understands where she's coming from with it, but still, in a situation like this, that doesn't make sense at all. Kendo would turn around at Izuku with fear, with a furious look in her eyes, as she would yell at Izuku, "What the hell was he doing?" Izuku would look confused as he would yell back at her that he was just trying to take out the enemy. Kendo would pause as she say, "Didn't you promise to me not to kill anyone again?" As Izuku would pause as he would remember his promise. As Izuku would ball up his fist and look down, as he would sort of grunt, as he would look up back at Kendo, as he would say, "Fine, but he does have to take him out. He's just gonna have to take him out." As Kendo said, "Fine, we're gonna do that together." As Izuku and Kendo would walk up, as they would get in a stance. Izuku would get in a basic karate stances, so would Kendo. As Kageyama would get up until the matter of fact that that all of a sudden that spinner, I would say, a random Nomo would come out of nowhere and grab Kageyama and run off. Izuku would be fully ready to run after him and try to take out Kageyama so he can question him. But before Izuku could run off, Kendo would end up grabbing Izuku by the shoulder and yelling at him that, or not yelling, but telling him that they need to go back to the campsite now for Izuku's sword. Izuku would agree as the two would run off. Eventually, they would make it back to camp. As before the clone of Dabi can even make it inside, Kendo and Izuku both sneak attack him, destroying the clone. As soon as they run into the building, similar to like before, Izuku would have ended up just slamming the door open as Vlad King, not knowing or suspecting for it to be Izuku. He would run up trying to slam Izuku into the wall, thinking that it was a villain, but Izuku would have ended up flipping Blood Vlad, or was it Blood Lad? It was Blood Vlad, right? Was it Vlad? Blood Vlad. I'm gonna call him Blood Vlad. It's a lad. So he ends up flipping Blood Lad over his shoulder, slamming him into the wall. Izuku looks down, realizing that what he just did as he would start apologizing. Blood Vlad would say no, that it's his fault that he was going to hit Izuku. Izuku would look around the room as he would end up seeing that his Izuku would end up looking around the room as I'm pretty sure like it was Mina, Ida, and a couple others inside the room. I would say that Izuku probably entrusted Denki to hold his sword while he was there. So Denki would have his sword in hand while like they were all standing up. Izuku would walk over to Denki and put out his hands asking for his sword, as Denki would immediately give it to him. As he would turn around and just for everybody to come out as they're all gonna go out and fight. Aizawa will look at Izuku and tell them that they're all not going to be going anywhere, as they're going to stay here and stay safe. Izuku would look at Mr. Aizawa as he would tell them that all their friends are out there and they're all in danger, and you expect us all to just stay in here. As Ida would walk up, as he would tell Izuku that I get that he's class president, but still that's what Mr. Aizawa said, and that's what Mr. Aizawa's final word. Izuku will walk up to Aizawa, looking him dead in his eyes, face to face. As he would tell Mr. Aizawa, as he would look Aizawa in his face, he would tell Aizawa that he would tell them that those are all his students out there. Vlad King's, was it called Vlad King? Fuck, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Vlad King. I just remembered that. I said Blood Lad. Thinking of the anime, Vlad King. Oh shit. That Vlad Kings and Aizawa students are out there fighting against villains, and instead of just going out there themselves, they're all gonna coop up in here to protect more students. What about all the other countless students that are out there fighting? You're both heroes, aren't you? Don't you know the lives of the many outweigh the lives of the few? We all need to go out there, and we all need to go out there, and we all need to save the many. And you two need to save the many instead of being in here saving the few. Not saying that their lives don't matter, but I'm saying that all of them are out there fighting, and so does he, and so do they as well. And not to have them cooped up in this room, thinking that they're absolutely useless because they couldn't save their friends. Aizawa would look at Izuku as he would sigh, as Aizawa would almost be persuaded by this, as he would say that he understands where Izuku is coming from, and he fully does agree, but he doesn't want to put any more students in. As Aizawa's words would be cut off as a swift chop to his neck. As soon as he closed his eyes while talking, Izuku had chopped Aizawa in the neck. Vlad King would try to get up to stop Izuku, but Izuku will quickly move over and do the same thing to him. As Izuku would tell them that they wouldn't be asleep for long, as he didn't knock them out, as they won't be. Izuku would tell them that they won't be asleep for long, and they need to start moving. They will all ask if that was all right, as Izuku would say that it's fine. Now let's hurry up. They will all quickly run out and running towards the forest. As now they have a lot more people out to help them. The first thing while running around, Izuku would immediately think of Koda, as he would proceed to run off. Actually, no, they will all be running in a group, and Izuku knowing that Kendo wouldn't let him run off on his own, he would have ended up lagging behind on purpose, as he would end up disappearing, as he would end up running after Koda. When Izuku would end up would have ended up going atop the rock, he would see Koda getting choked out by a giant muscly villain. Izuku, now in this situation, he's immensely stronger, faster. Reaction time is beyond probably lightning, maybe. I doubt it. No, maybe even faster than bullet. So that, and on top of that, he has no problem at all with killing people. And now in this situation, all he wants to do is just kill to get them out of the way. Koda is in danger. He has the same bond and connection with Koda that he does in canon, or quote unquote bond. And now there's a guy that knows Yuki that's also here, threatening his friends' lives. He's not gonna be holding back at all. He's gonna, if he has a chance to, if nobody's gonna stop him, he's gonna kill him. So, while Izuku would rush forward, he would pull out his blade faster. As Muscular would see a little shine come from the side. As he would look over, as the last thing that he would see is a green blur as his head would fall upon the ground, as this giant body would fall over. Izuku would quickly grab Koda as he would begin running down the mountain path. As Koda would look up, as he would thank Izuku for what he had done. As Izuku would look down at Koda and say that it's no problem. And after some time, he would have ended up taking Koda back to the campsite where Aizawa and Vlad King went over to be found, because they're now out looking for the students. Or now they're out fighting because of the students. Finally, because of that, Izuku would sit down Koda and tell him to not go anywhere, as Izuku would run back out. Now, at this point, every other student would be handling their own thing. Tetsu wouldn't end up getting killed, but he would still end up struggling until I'll say Kendo and a few groups of other would still probably show up. They would still be looking for Bakugo and Tokiyami. It'll all still group up, as they will all still meet in the middle. But there is a very drastic change. Now, I would say, because Izuku is there, or because how Izuku is now, when Mr. Compressed Light drops the marbles, I would say that Izuku is just so fast that he just grabs all of them. He just grabs both of the marbles. See, like I feel like at this point they will all still meet up. It will still be all of them. I would say that Izuku would probably be in the same group as the original that he was originally in, and Kendo and all of them are out doing their own thing. Kendo would still probably save Tetsu or whatever. I feel like Uraraka would make them all float, Froppy would wrap them up, she'll throw them forward, Izuku will go up in the air, land on top of, or Izuku and the group will land on top of Mr. Compress, and then finally, when the marbles are shown, Izuku would jump forward and grab them, as Izuku would put them in his pocket. But as soon as this would happen, he would have ended up dodging 2 waves of flames, one being basic flames and one being blue, as he would see Kageyama and Dabi shooting flames at him. As now, I would say Ragdoll, Tiger, I would say they will all still be injured. I would say that, yeah, they will all still be injured. Aizawa and Vlad King would have ended up showing up around the same time, and a bunch of Class 1B and 1A students will also show up. As the rest of them are thinking that this might be too much for them, but Dabi and Kageyama are still adamant on fighting. So because of that, they will all begin to rush forward, or all the students. Actually, no, I would say it will only be like Tetsu, Monoma, and I forgot her name with the grass for hair, with the thorns and vines for hair. That'll be that'll be about it. I feel like the only group that would be there, like, is the people that were inside. So Denki, Kirishima, Ida, Mina. And then on top of that, we would have Kendo, Izuku, and also Aoyama, then Aizawa and Black King. So there's only, like, what, 9 people? No, that's more than 9. Like 12, 13 people. Yeah, they would still be pretty confident. As basically they will all rush forward and basically now during this fight I'm only gonna focus on the fight with Izuku and Kageyama, which is a very brief and short fight, like how it was for Muscular. But Izuku does not kill Kageyama. I will say that now. Anyway, Izuku now has his blade, and Kageyama just has his flames. As Kageyama would clap his hands together, as he would shoot a fireball at Izuku. Izuku would draw his blade, would unsheath his blade, as he would slice right through the fireball, as he would continue to rush forward. Kageyama would proceed to clap his hands again, as his entire palm would be covered in flame, as he would thrust his palm forward. Izuku would also swipe his blade down, as Kageyama would basically almost be like charging up flames in his hands, as he would turn the palm of his hand to face towards Izuku. No, he would have his palm of his hand pointed straight forward at Izuku like Bakugo, but he would turn it sideways to shoot off like a small flame explosion to block off Izuku's attack. As he would end up coating his other fist in flames, as he would punch Izuku across the face. And then after that point, he would use the momentum of punching Izuku to quickly twist around and try to punch Izuku across the face, until Izuku would put up his katana to block the attack, and then fully unsheath it. Or no, he'll put up his katana to block the attack, and then fully move it over his head to swipe down at Kageyama. Which Kageyama would just block and then spread his hands apart, but causing fire to still be connected between the two, so it would block Izuku's blade. He would proceed to do a full twist around to kick off, or to sort of move Izuku's blade off of him, as Kageyama would twist around as he would shoot a fireball at Izuku's chest. This fireball would singe Izuku's chest as he would back up Sun, as a wall of blue flames would hit it, or would smash into Izuku as well. This will cause Izuku to roll over and fall down as he singed on the ground. As Kageyama would clap his hands, and after that create a bunch of miniature fireballs, as he would slowly spread his arms out until his arms would fully be spread out, as they would all turn into little tiny fire. They would all turn, I would like little fire spears, you could say, like little fire arrowheads, as they would all fire off at Izuku. Izuku would quickly get up as soon as this would happen. Izuku would put up his blade as he would start deflecting and slashing between slashing and hacking in the fire heads or fire arrowheads, as some would end up piercing and cutting into Izuku's skin, burning him slightly. But besides that, he would deflect most of them that would come his way. But before Izuku could make another move, Kageyama would reel his giant put his giant fist his long arms into the air as he would put his fist together, as he would bring his fist down in a fiery, almost like a sledgehammer, if you ever played Dragon Ball Xenoverse, or like he would just put his hands together, lift like almost like in a prayer type thing, but like put your palms together, put your fingers between them, after that lift it into the air and bring it down onto Izuku's head, as it would be like on fire. It would be on fire, as Kageyama would yellow flaming hammer, as it would crash right into the back of Izuku's head, sending him right into the ground. As before Kageyama could do any more damage, Kendo would rush forward and throw a punch forwards. Kageyama would end up just simply dodging her attack as he would uppercut her across the chin. Izuku would look up, getting enraged at this fact, as he would end up grabbing his blade and swinging at Kageyama's throat, which Kageyama would dodge. After this point, the majority of 1B and the 2 other heroes are dealing with everybody else, while Kageyama is basically fighting majority of the students that are out at Class 1A. While he is fighting all of them, like basically just all of Izuku's friends, honestly, it's just Kirishima, Mina, we have Denki, we also got Ida, then we got Izuku himself, we got Kendo. Also, where is Inasa in all of this? I would say I don't know where Inasa would be. I would say he probably would be the one fighting Moonfish, so he would also be here as well, but the best way to put it, I don't really know what he would do. Like, he would just pretty much obliterate everything. With Mustard, he would just move it all out of the way. No, I would say that he's probably injured somewhere. Honestly, if he's fighting Moonfish, he's definitely getting injured. Fighting, whatchamacallit, Mustard definitely getting injured. So he's probably just injured. No, the best way to put it, I'm going to say this. Izuku had probably found Inasa fighting Muscular when he went up to Koda. I'm gonna retcon this. He found Inasa bloodied and bruised as he would grabbing Inasa as he would take him and Kendo to the campsite after he would kill Muscular. Boom. That's where Inasa is, injured and out of the fight. So right now, to put it simply, Kageyama is now basically just handling all of 1A. He's injuring, he's beating on them, he's burning them up, everything. As Izuku would see this happen, as he would rush forward to try and save his friends. As 1 second, he would see Mina try to basically throw some acid at him, as Kageyama would dodge out of the way, clap his hands together and cover his hand palm in flames. As Mina would try to shoot more acid at him, as he would put up his other hand and coat him in flames, he would burn through the acid and slam his hand into Mina's stomach, singeing her stomach, launching her back. Izuku would scream out for Mina as he would try to get up and run forward until a wall of blue flames would cover in front of him. And as Izuku would look over and see Dabi basically trying to stop Izuku, and on top of that trying to rush over to get the marbles from Izuku. Todoroki, while fighting, he would quickly take his sights off of Kageyama and shoot an ice wall at Dabi. But as soon as this would happen, Kageyama would rush forward and hit Todoroki with the flaming hammer. As Todoroki would get the same reaction from Izuku, getting his head slammed into the ground. As Dabi seeing this as an opportunity, he would quickly run over and grab. And as he would run over to Kendo would try to throw a punch, but Dabi would dodge out of the way, throwing a fireball in their face. As it wouldn't really burn her face all too much, but it would still hurt. As he would wrap his arm around Kendo, as he would light his hand on fire. As he would wrap one arm around Kendo and lift up another hand to Kendo's face, lighting it on fire. But as he would look at as he would look at Izuku, telling Izuku to give them the marbles or the girl dies. Izuku would pause for a few seconds as he would grit his teeth. As Kageyama would walk up to Izuku, putting out his long hand, putting out his hand. Izuku would dig in his pocket, pull out the marbles as he would throw them towards Kageyama. As soon as Kageyama would clutch them in his hand, Izuku would rush forward and try to slice off Kageyama's arm. But Kageyama would dodge and grab Izuku by his neck. And kick and knee him in the stomach, throwing him off to the wayside. As Izuku would be sort of confused on why Kageyama has a sudden burst of strength like that. As this whole time, as when he fought him earlier, he didn't even seem that strong. It seemed like Izuku could easily dodge and kill him. But now he seems more like a challenge. As soon as Kageyama would turn around to give the marbles to Dabi, Izuku would see a sort of seal on his back, as it would read the kanji for strength. Izuku would realize that this guy is definitely with the Hanzo clan, as he knows how to use chi. Chi is basically almost like chakra in this case, or I forgot if I called it chi or chakra, same difference. It's usually used for elemental attacks, seals, and all that other good stuff, so yeah. Anyway, Izuku would see the seal as he would sort of get scared, as now he realizes that this is a lot more serious than he expected. As Kageyama would sort of look, as Kageyama would start hear beep, would feel a vibration on his wrist as he would lift up his wrist, peeling off the kimono and Hayori off of his wrist, as he would look down, seeing at his watch, as he would see that his time is up. He had a certain time limit to kill Izuku as basically to get a gauge for his strength. It's with and without the talisman. And for what he can tell, without the talisman, Kageyama stands no chance. But with it, Izuku's almost nothing towards him. Kageyama would turn around and tell Izuku that in some time he'll be seeing Yuki again, and it won't be a very pleasant visit. As he would turn around and walk in the portal with everybody else. I would say that's pretty much about it, honestly. As everybody sort of bummed out that Katsuki's captured, Izuku feels even worse on the fact that not only he couldn't help out Inasa, he's also getting scolded by Vlad King and Aizawa, and then finally he literally is the one who gave them to the villains. Which that part nobody would blame him or scold him for. That was a no death situation. Even if they were to kill Gendo, they were still gonna come after Izuku for the marbles, so he had to. Anyway, the same team to go out and save Katsuki would go the same. It would be Todoroki, Kirishima, Mina. No, was it Mina? No, it was Todoroki, Momo, Kirishima, Ida, and Izuku. They would all still go out to go and find Todoroki. It would pretty much play the same. I would feel like Kendo would also end up joining along as well. So, their plan to literally just launch into the air would still be the same, as Izuku would still call out for Bakugo. To symbolize their friendship, Bakugo would actually rush forward and grab Izuku's hands. As they would end up flying away. All Might would still end up I feel like he would still end up scolding Kendo also. Or honestly all of them. Shit. But still, either way, that fight would still go the same and blah blah blah. Now parents need to sign the form for them to go into dorms. Shinya would definitely do it, as he would trust UA. It's literally, I'm pretty sure where he fucking works. Anyway, I would say it's about maybe a week after the dorms. I would say about a week. So this is where the story starts to sort of detach from the literal My Hero story. So this is now where I start getting into my own thing. I would say a little bit after a week when I would say about a week after they do the little best room contest. Izuku's room would be very much more traditional and pretty much almost like Momo's and Todoroki's. It would just basically seem like a basic Japanese almost house inside of the room. As people would call it the second best room for how fancy and almost warm welcome feeling that it gives whenever they walk inside. So that's a boom. But anyway, the winner would still be Sato because of the fucking cake, dumbass shit. Anyway, it will be about a week as everybody is pretty much just chilling around the UA dorms. There's really no real confrontation going on until all of a sudden they would hear a large explosion out of the front of the door, or in the entrance of the dorms. When this would happen, everybody would turn around in shock as some would end up getting caught in the flames. For example, Mineta, Aoyama, Shoji, Koda, and what is his name, bros? Sato. Damn. And also maybe, I don't know if Hagakure would as well. But those are the main group of people that immediately get caught in the explosion. As the explosion would consist of just fire. As Izuku would turn to look in fear as he would see. As I feel like because of Izuku's paranoia, and also because of the fact that he cherishes the sword, I feel like he would still keep it by his side. He would just walk around with the sword or some shit. Yeah, let's just say that. So basically, when they walk in, I would say a girl with white hair, kind of palish blue eyes, and also very white eyelashes and eyebrows, with a sort of light blue and white kimono, or white blue and would it be a female's kimono? Almost something similar to what Kageyama was wearing, but just light blue and white. As this would be Yuki, but Izuku would remember her looking a lot differently. This is because I forgot the old man's name, but whatever his name was, he preferred a very specific type of taste. Izuku knew this about that. He knew that Yuki's hair was white and all this other stuff, but with the fact of that she had got contacts, she didn't get her skin painted, but she got contacts and she dyed her hair. Just because her father wanted her to look a certain type of way, because that's how he looked before he grew old and grew gray hair. Well, this is what Yuki actually looks like. As Izuku would look up almost in fear and sadness as he would see Yuki. And next to her would be Kageyama. Izuku also, something else I'd like to say. Never mind. Izuku would be looking up at Yuki as Yuki would look down at Izuku. The weapon that Yuki would be carrying would basically, it would be like a spear, but at the very end of the spear, it would be almost like a cross lightsaber. So it would be a very long spear, and then at the end of the spear, or at the very start of it, it would be sort of a path or a blade that stretches out of it. I forgot what that thing was called, but there are like two blades that stretch out of it from both sides, and then in the middle is the actual blade. I don't know what it's called, but she would have one of those. She would lift it up and she would point it towards Izuku, as she would tell Izuku that it's been a long time, but his time has finally come for his death to come. For what Izuku has done, for what Izuku did. As everybody would sort of look confused, they would all look over at Izuku. Izuku would sort of sit there and pause, and also in fear on what was going on, as as Yuki and Kageyama would leap forward towards Izuku and all of Class 1A. To put it simply, Kageyama and Yuki would completely obliterate all of them. Kageyama would launch out fire attacks, which would take out and burn everybody, which would burn and damage everybody. Yuki would use her wind elemental magic, not magic. I'm just gonna say jutsu. Got nothing else to say for it. Wind elemental jutsu to just completely knock around and obliterate all of them. It would just be a complete massacre. Izuku was literally gonna die until I wasn't gonna say. Izuku was the only one that could really stand up to them, as basically in the end it was just basically Izuku versus Kageyama and Yuki, as everybody else was either burnt, beaten, or scratched up on the ground, as Izuku would be the only one standing until heroes would finally appear after fighting through hordes of mercenary foot soldiers, as they would all go in as they would help out Izuku versus Kageyama and Yuki. They wouldn't fare any better, but they would be but more heroes would be on their way, and so finally the two would decide to leave. As soon as this would happen, Izuku would fall down to the ground, looking around, seeing everything that's happened, all of his friends hurt, scarred, and all this other such. As basically, the heroes would ask Izuku what happened, as Izuku would explain everything to them. When he was a kid, he was adopted by somebody else before, Edshot. This person, I still don't remember the motherfucker's name. This person was not a good man. He he doesn't know everything that he did, but he knows that not everything he did was good. So far as he knows, he did something to the mercenary group known as Hanzo, which ended up pissing them off, and now they end up threatening him. During this time, he had a daughter named Yuki, who is now, I guess, a current leader of the group, or a current leader of the group. And now it looks like she's out for revenge. So now they have a literal group chasing after this one kid, which is NUA. Now, on top of that, it's a mercenary group, so they have a very large reason to go after them. But on top of that, it's the son of a pro hero. Yeah, they need to address that. So during this, I would say about a month from now, Izuku would apologize to all his friends. They would all be okay. Also, Inasa would still. He would be in the hospital, so he wouldn't even be attacked. As they would all apologize, and Inasa would also apologize for him not being there either to help out. Izuku, as I would say, somebody like Kirishima would even be. I would say even somebody like Bakugo, but maybe it would say like even if you were there, it wouldn't make any difference. They would have still kicked our asses. As anyway, I would say it would be about 2 months from now. During these 2 months, heroes have been looking into the Hanzo mercenary organization, and they haven't really found or haven't really progressed too much. During these couple of months, Kendo would have ended up asking Izuku out, and he would have accepted. I would say they would only been going out for about 1 or 2 months now. I know it's only, I would say like 3 months has passed. So during this time, there's been no literal progression on the mercenary group as Hanzo. So the only thing that they have is to literally just start a hero organization to go and hunt them down, which is what they do. They accept all kinds of heroes. So it's literally it would be majority of people of class 1A, 1B, and a bunch of plethora of different heroes, all now going on to fight the Hanzo organization. So now Izuku would be assigned to a squad. This squad would have Izuku, Kendo, Ida, Mina, Momo, Inasa, Todoroki, Bakugo, Edshot. What is her name? What the fuck is the motherfucker's name? Goddamn Power Loader. And Monoma. As this would have been a squad of 10, they would have had 2 heroes and the rest would have been students. One of the group of 10. Basically, when this assault would be happening, they would be assaulting on a certain warehouse that would be assigned for the Hanzo mercenaries. As basically this entire time, Izuku wouldn't be wearing his new hero outfit. He would be basically wearing his old one, since his old one had just finally got repaired and he wanted to use it for this. When they would all appear in front of the warehouse, they would all be behind a building. As it would be around nighttime. They would all go around to each building. No, they would all basically surround the building. It would be each of their jobs to get inside of the building and to somehow get inside of the building, and when they gave the signal, the smoke bombs would be dropped and they needed to take them all out. As basically this would be almost successful, as also it will be split into groups of 2. So Mina and Momo, Edshot and Power Loader, Monoma and Inasa, and Todoroki, Bakugo. Izuku Kendo. Wait, shit, hold on. Let me fix the teams. My bad. It would be Izuku Kendo, Ida and Mina, Momo and Inasa, Todoroki and Bakugo. I said Ida. What the fuck I say? No, yeah. Todoroki and Bakugo, Edge Shot and Power Loader, and Monoma. Monoma would just be with Power Loader and Edge Shot, as they were all basically... Okay, whatever the fuck. As they were all basically storm the warehouse, they were all throwing the smoke bombs as they were storming the warehouse. How Izuku would have gotten inside? Izuku and Kendo would have taken the window. As Izuku would have sneakily broken the window, or not broken it, he would have opened it up to certain type of ways. As soon as he would get the drop in on the random Hanzo guard, he would have ended up killing him. Or no, he wouldn't. He would have ended up debating killing him. But as soon as he saw Kendo look at him, Izuku would just knock him out with the back of his blade, or the bottom of his handle. As soon as they would throw on the smoke bombs, Izuku and the rest of them would jump down as they would begin to knock out and basically beat up on all of the Hanzo guards. During this excursion, the general for this Hanzo warehouse would have ended up coming out, as he would have walked forward with a giant, I would say, basically an axe in his hand, as all of them would begin fighting. While they were fighting, the only people that would not get too badly injured would be Edge Shot, and just that's about it. Edge Shot and Todoroki. Izuku, Kendo, Ida, Mina, Momo, and Inasa, Todoroki, Bakugo, Power Loader, and Monoma. They have all been hurt beyond full. They've been battered. They've just been obliterated. They still managed to take out the general. I'm not gonna get into that fight because I still need to move along. But they were injured. And Izuku, seeing Kendo and all of his other friends get injured like that, he couldn't accept it. And then on top of that, he heard about all the other reports, and all the other people of Class 1B and 1A also were injured. Izuku realized that their methods of just knocking them out or just damaging them enough, or this sort of raid, was not going to work. Izuku knew this in his heart, that he needed to do it on his own, because he's the only one that could do it. This is something that revolves around him. This is only something that he will do. So, it would be around a week from this incident when everybody is it would be around a week. Everybody would sort of be inside of in the dorms, basically all wrapped up in bandages, probably braces or other such from the injuries of the fight. As they would all be given a 1 week break from the excursion that they had with the Hanzo mercenary group, as Izuku wasn't too badly injured enough for him to basically get removed, or well, he was injured badly, but not enough to stop fighting, in his eyes at least. As one day everybody's just walking around, as Izuku would be wearing armor exactly like this, green armor, platter on his body with black and with sort of a black undergarments and a white robe around it. Everybody would look confused on why the world Izuku was wearing that, as he would grab his bags, as he would tie them, as he would have a bag on his back and a katana on his hip. As Kendo would look confused, as ask Izuku where in the world was he going. Izuku would tell them that, or simply tell him that, well, this is his problem. This is the reason why they're suffering. They've all gotten far too hurt just by one of their excursions. Izuku knows that this is his fault, and what he needs to do, he needs to fix. So now, they can all just drop him. Pretend like they never knew me. As only for a certain amount of time until he comes back. When he comes back, I'll come back as the friend, Izuku Kamihara, not Izuku Midoriya. As everybody will look confused on Midoriya, as Izuku would tell them that he's going to do it on his own. Everybody would look shocked as they would all beg Izuku not to go. As Izuku would tell what I just said, he needs to do it, and he doesn't care what they have to think. He'll be back, and it doesn't matter if he hates them or not, even if they all do hate him. for what he's going to do. At least he knows that they're all safe. They will all be begging him not to go and leave, but they all know that they can't do it. Todoroki would try to create an ice wall to stop Izuku, but as soon as Izuku gave Todoroki a certain glare, Todoroki knew that if he continued this up, he was going to be staying in the dorms a lot longer than everybody else. So he would stop. As Izuku would continue to walk out of the door, Kendo would run up behind Izuku and yell at Izuku for him to stop right now. Izuku would not listen and would continue walking. As everybody would just be yelling towards Izuku, as Kendo would yell out, if he walks out of those doors, they're over. What they have will be over. Izuku, right before he exits the doors, he stops and turns around to look at Kendo with the most sincere and saddest look in his eyes. He'll say, I'm sorry, and I hope that you can forgive me. As he would turn the knob to the door, as he would walk out of UA. The students would try to quickly warn the teachers, but by the time they searched the area to where Izuku could have been, he's gone. Far as the eye can see. As we would skip to about a week later, Izuku would be sitting in front of the warehouse of one of the generals for the mercenary organization. Izuku would have ended up jumping in front of one of the open windows that they had. As the moonlight sky would illuminate into the window, it would only be around a certain amount of light that would have ended up entering the room. So because of that, there would be a group of crates that would basically have shadows covered under them. One of the Hanzo foot soldiers with a gun in hand would walk past the crates until Izuku's hand would come out of the darkness as it would grab this foot soldier and drag him into the darkness, as all you would hear is slashing and the sound of blood squirting, and a blade being struck through skin or bone. As Izuku would proceed to do this to slowly dwindle down the numbers of literally everyone inside of the room, as the general who would just be sitting in his office would slowly notice that there aren't really that many soldiers left, as he would walk outside to see that nobody's around, as he would look confused until suddenly a bloody body with an arm and leg missing, its guts ripped out and its throat slit, fall in front of him, as he would scream, as he would stumble back, falling back to the ground. This general would quickly run into his office, grabbing and would grab his axe. And would grab his axe and turn around, and only to see Izuku just standing there with nothing in his eyes, with blood covering his body. As the general would try to swing at Izuku, but Izuku would simply just disappear in front of his eyes, as soon as the general turned around to see Izuku, he would try to swing again. But as soon as he did, he would realize the only thing that flew at Izuku was blood. As he would look down at his arm and see that his arm is completely severed off. Before the general would begin to scream, as Izuku would run forward, bring down his blade and swipe it upwards, cutting the general in half, as the general would fall to the ground. Izuku would take in a deep breath and sigh and say that this is going to be it. And would simply just apologize again to everyone in Class 1A, saying each one of their names individually and apologizing all in each different way for each different person. As Izuku would swipe his blade forward, getting all the blood off of it, as he would sheath it back, as he would jump out of the building to go take out more and more and more warehouses all in the city, until about 2 days later, when all of Class 1A is now insinuated back into into the Hanzo extermination force, they were all here on how Izuku, or what people seen as basically a kid with green hair, had now just basically massacred and murdered every single individual Hanzo member. As that would be put on the news, as a former UA student, Izuku Midoriya had now gone rogue and is now taking out all the Hanzo members by himself on his own accord. As everybody would be shocked in this revelation, as the next thing that they knew, about a week later, basically all the Hanzo organization, the Hanzo warehouses in the city of Hosu and the city where where Enko lives, would all now be completely wiped out. They are all dead, and now the Hanzo extermination forces are now moving out to further outskirts of the city, as now people are realizing that Hanzo is a far more bigger organization than they ever thought, spreading all across Japan, further than most of them thought. as we're gonna skip about a couple more months, it would be no. That's actually where I'm going to leave this part off. It's going to be a couple more months. We're going to see Zuko, and as during this time, we're going to see Zuko in the same armor, as the armor would be cut up, bloodied, or covered in dried old blood and cut up and broken. As the armors would be chipped, slashed, and burnt, and so many other things. Izuku would even have some bullet wounds inside of the armors and also his clothing. His blade would not even be chipped at all, as dried up blood would cover his hair and hands, and also the hilt and handle of his blade. As Izuku would slowly be walking through the snow, as he would be walking through a dense forest, until he would finally appear in front of a large sort of Japanese style castle tower, the best way to put it. As Izuku would only be standing only a couple thousand feet away, which, like out loud, it sounds long. That sounds like pretty far away, but in reality, no. A single mile in feet are like 5,000. No, a single mile in feet are like 5,000 feet. So 2,000 is only like quarter way there. Not that much. As Izuku would stand in front of this giant tower, with nothing but gunmen sitting in the front and all around the tower, as Izuku would draw his blade and rush forward. As that's where I'm going to leave this part off. I hope you all have a nice day. This is where the story really gets interesting. Please like, subscribe if you want to see more. And this is where I'm going to say goodbye.